artist of color. I've been collecting for probably, 25 years or more. In the last, I'd say 10 years, I started to focus on specifically art by women and artists of color. I used to be very eclectic, all over the board. I didn't really think about it, didn't really do any research early on, but I do now. And it's important to me that when I collect an artist, the artist has to be a good person on that front. I love collecting. I always say it's my collection with my wife's, even though my wife does not collect the art. She's not really into art like I am, but she has been very supportive of me. So I always tell her it's always important for me to include her name as well as mine when we loan work or there's exhibitions of our work that are around. This is the third exhibition in the last year or so, year and a half, of a big portion of our collection of art by women. Just walking around, seeing it in this space, and just seeing it with fresh eyes. Because some of the work, obviously, I can't put all the work up, so I have to rotate, and I do rotate the art a couple times a year in our gallery and in our home. But it's just nice to see so much work out, and in such a big space. It makes me happy to see it out, because art should be seen by as many people as possible. So one of the things that is important to me is not only to collect art by women artists that are nationally, internationally known. I'm also a very staunch supporter of emerging artists, young artists, local, regional artists in our area. So it's important to me that they be in the space with names like, Sandy Scopeland and Anna Mendiette. I think what just touched my heart was seeing local artists from Ohio on the same wall and pairing with, like I said, Anna Mendiette and, artists that have been nationally and internationally known. And a lot of people, obviously, when they see this collection, they won't know a lot of our local artists that are so important to me and so important to our collection. So seeing all the artists together as they should be, I really love how you guys put this whole thing together. It looks really amazing. I have to say, since I started focusing on art by women and artists of color 10 years ago or so, my whole philosophy has changed on boards and committees I get associated with. I'm very picky now, more so than I was when I was much younger. My wish would be that women artists were equal to male artists. We've come a long way, there's a long way to go, and to me, equality is really important. That's really all we all want. Just to be equal. Not to have anyone else be superior or someone else make more money or do this, get more notoriety. Like for when artists are concerned, male and female artists, it's like we should all be equal. And that's just, I don't know, that's kind of what's, the name of the show, Enough Already, that's kind of where I am, enough already. It is time for equality. For all the artist friends that we have, some are really happy with where they are and where things are, but a lot aren't. And I think it really gets back to male artists still being dominant, and it's not right. It really isn't, because a lot of these artists that we love and support are amazing, and everyone should know about them. And every artist should, if they want gallery representation, they should be able to be represented. If that's what they want, they should have what they need to get their art out there. And Michelle's right. There are still other times where a lot of our friends just feel they're just not getting, the recognition and support they need. And at times it feels like we're making some progress and then we backstep, and when we backstep, it's going to take a long time just to get back up to where you were even feeling like you were making some headway. So it's important for me that art be seen by as many people as possible. And honestly, having art in storage drives me crazy. But as a collector, and I'm still actively collecting, you're going to accumulate the work, right? And you're never going to have enough space to show everything all the time. So rotating is really important to me. We have a gallery in our home. We built our home 10 years ago, and the space for art was important to me. And so we have a gallery in our home that actually is dedicated to only women artists. And I rotate that twice a year. I have a team of 2 friends who, one is an artist, the other one was a chief preparator at one of the institutions in Cincinnati. I trust them both emphatically with everything. And so what happens is I used to have curator friends curate the space for me. And then I thought, I'm going to start doing it myself, just because I enjoy, I'm not a curator, but, I like to curate my own space sometimes. So, but Michael and Joel, my friends who rotate the art for me, they're really good. Like, I'll say, okay, I want these 12 things up on that wall. And I'll come back and there'll be 9 things up and not 12. And I'm like, well, where's the rest, Sarah? Art needs to breathe. You can't just be junking up everything, and that's my problem as a collector. I want as much art up as possible, so salon style, like what the Barnes Foundation does in Philly. I love that because so much work is up, but my wife does not want our house to be that heavily inundated in art, and I get it. And so in the gallery for women, I have one wall. I call it my salon style wall, and that's my wall. I get to muck up however I want it and put as much stuff on it as I want. And then I always curate it by a theme. Like one time it was all portraits. This last time it's all LGBTQ artists. I did it for Pride Month. So there's always some kind of theme every time I rotate. I'm getting ready to rotate again in December, so I haven't thought yet on when I want that salon style wall. So I have a file of every artist in the collection, and in that file I have, the invoice, provenance. I have artist statement. So really early in my collecting, something I have always done that other collectors tell me they wish they had started doing was I get an artist statement by every artist about the piece, because I want that statement in their words. And so when I tour people around our home, and Michelle and I open our home a lot to other collectors and arts institutions, students, I want to be able to talk about the piece the way the artist intended it to be talked about. So I don't want to just put my words in the piece. I want to use their words. And so I also have a artist program called Art Systems that catalogs all my art as well. And so like I can send, if an exhibition wants to be, if you guys want to do an exhibition, I can send you, here's the file of all the art by women I have. I never collected art to do what we're doing, but I am thrilled that the art that we have collected is thought of enough that institutions want to show it and people want to see it. And I honestly did not realize the breadth and width of the collection until last year. Michelle and I came home from the Dayton Art Institute, where the first rotation of the art was. It was called Riveting. And I was like, oh my God, I never would have thought that the art would be up in other institutions other than our home. But I've always lended art. Ever since I've been collecting, I've always lent art. If any gallery or museum, and now obviously they have to be reputable. I'm not just going to let the art go anywhere. But I believe in lending the work. And so there are times some of our work is out more than it's in our home. And that's okay. It drives me nuts, but it's okay because we have a lot anyway. And so it's important that it be out there, and I want people to see it, or it should be seen.
And I think one of the things that you do too is you allow people to come in and see the collection in our home, which is really different.
Right.
And a lot of times it's kids from the Cincinnati Art Academy, or Michael, who's our friend of ours, is a professor at Miami University. He teaches art, and he brings his students down. And they get to see, as she was talking about earlier, local artists, which is them, in amongst these very famous names of art. A, it blows them away, and B, I always say, why would you want to go into art right now? It's a horrible time, to go in to being an artist. It's so tough. But I think hopefully maybe it just gives them a little boost to go, yeah, I could do this. One of the buy stuff from Michael's students and they see it on the wall. And then the next year, that next group comes through and Michael will say, this is Cheryl and she was my student last year. And then the rest of the kids go, oh my God. And I think it just gives them, that's what's cool to me is the kids that come through it.
Right.
Yeah, we get a lot of other people that come through too. But I mean, to see that, that's one of the things that she's always tried to do is really support the local people, but young people, to give them that.
In my opinion, like Michelle said, I mean, these artists, they're amazing and they should be acquired. And I think every collector should support young talent. I really do. Not just, you know, blue chip artists that everyone knows their names out there, but, you know, help support some of your local artists. And Michelle's right. It's really cool to see these young people light up and when they see me post a picture of their work in the gallery. And it's heartwarming. It's heartwarming to see them being so happy. I'm glad I'm doing this. I'm glad you're doing this. I'm glad we as a group are giving voices to these artists that otherwise may not have them. I just acquire what I like. I acquire what, you know, I can afford. I think that's one of the reasons that I always tell young people who want to start collecting, they'll say, well, you know, I don't have the budget. I'm like, you can collect on any budget. You really can. That's why, you know, people should support our emerging artists, our young artists, our local artists, right? Their work is just as good because they've been taught and they've been artists forever, and they should be seen and they should be acquired. And so a lot of times you can start there and build a lovely collection, you know? So anyone can collect it anyway, at any time. It's just everyone is a little different in how they go about it and you know, what the budget is and things like that. I am trying to dial it back a little bit because we do have a lot of work. But honestly, it's kind of nice to see a little space because there have been times that it has been almost where art throws up. It's just everywhere. My wife is very organized and very minimal, and I try to be organized, but as a collector, I am not minimal. It's been kind of nice to see some space, and not that says to me, oh, Sarah, there's space, go buy some more art, because the old me would have been doing that. I'm really trying not to acquire as much because we have a lot. You know, just let it go out and do what it's doing right now, which is really great.